Y'all, it's been a little bit since, we did this. What has it been, like 2 weeks since my last video? Oh my gosh, time is flown. Okay, what is up, y'all? Today, we're gonna be focusing on the most recent Apple event where they made some new announcements for the MacBook Pro lineup. They also announced some new HomePods, AirPods, and an Apple Music voice plan. But the focus of today's video is gonna be the MacBooks. So Apple introduced two new MacBook Pros to their lineup. We got a 14-inch now and a 16-inch. But the thing that I like here though, y'all, is the fact that you can now choose the display size that you want, but you don't have to sacrifice having an internal spec that the larger model offers. So, example, in the past, if you got the bigger MacBook, you got more port options than you did on the smaller ones. But now we have the same lineup of things on both models. So the main difference now between these two models is the display size, obviously, and the battery, which we'll talk about. But the short summary of the upgrades that you'll see with this new lineup is a new display, we have new internals, a new web camera, and some new ports, which is, let's just talk about that, because this has to be one of my favorite things about these new MacBooks, and that's the fact that we now have the ports, in which we all have been wanting. Like, it's like Apple sat back and was like, all right, they still asking for it, they're still talking about it, let's give it to them. One in particular for me is the SD card slot. This is something that I have been wanting back on my MacBook for the absolute longest, because if you forget your dongle, you're just, it's a sad world, it's a sad day. On top of that, you also have 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 1 HDMI port, and a MagSafe port. Yes, I said MagSafe, y'all. Oh, and we also have a headphone port. I forgot that one. Because I'm personally excited, y'all, about, not having to be so reliant upon this dongle life. Like, I can at least get my footage on my computer without it. And that's been major for me in my workflow, because when I'm out, sometimes I do forget the dongle, and it's nice now to know I'll still be okay if I do. Now the power of this thing relies on one of Apple's 2 new chips. So we didn't just get one new option, we got 2. And one of those being the M1 Pro, and the other being the M1 Max. Both of these chips are super powerful. They're definitely much more powerful than the existing M1 chip that's currently out that, I personally swapped my 16-inch MacBook Pro for. So I spec'd out the 13-inch MacBook Pro and sold my 16-inch MacBook Pro, which was also spec'd out to the top. And I haven't looked back from the switch. So to know now that I have another option that's even faster than my current computer, which is already getting me by just fine, that's just nice. Now the M1 Pro alone can go up to a 10-core CPU and up to a 16-core GPU and up to 32 gigabytes of unified memory. Now that's just the M1 Pro chip. When we take a look at the M1 Max chip, that's gonna give you up to a 10-core CPU, and it doubles the GPU up to 32 cores. But it has up to 64 gigabytes of unified memory and 2 Pro accelerators in the media engine. These computers are insane. I cannot wait to test what Final Cut for me is like up there, because anything to increase his workflow. No rainbow wheels. Team no rainbow wheels. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the display, because this is something that I'm happy that Apple has given us the option to have, which is something, that's in the median of the existing 13 and 15-inch models, which is a 14-inch screen. Don't get me wrong, I've been honestly completely fine with my 13-inch, display here, because honestly, it's mostly docked to my monitor most of the time, and it's perfect when I'm out on the go, because it's not too small. But to have an extra inch, but still not be quite as massive as the 15-inch display, I think it's like a nice little medium there, But on top of having this new screen size, we also now have a Liquid Retina XDR display with higher resolution and pixels. And both the 14 and the 16-inch model has more pixels and resolution than the previous M1 13-inch. So basically, you're gonna have a better display that's not just better in terms of color and saturation, but also in terms of picture clarity. Now, in terms of the battery, on the 14-inch model, you get up to 17 hours of video playback, whereas with the 16-inch model, you'll get up to 21 hours of video playback. Now hold up, I gotta see how this stacks up against my current 13-inch real quick, y'all, because my 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro will give me up to 20 hours of video playback. And it actually still gives me the most hours on the web as well, because the 14-inch model will give me 11 hours and the 16-inch model will give me 14 hours. Ooh, so I might have to sacrifice on the battery a little bit. I'll take it for the upgrades, you know? Because something else that I forgot to mention that was changed up here is the keyboard. So we no longer have the touch bar. Instead, we have physical keys at the top, which I like because I don't interact with my touch bar as much as I thought and as much as I want. Like, I keep trying to make more of an active effort to do things to engage with it, but I don't know, I don't. So having that removed, it doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like the idea of having physical keys back up there versus a touch bar. But y'all, one thing though, let's take it back to this display. One thing that I'm just on, you know, it's gonna take a moment, is this little notch at the top of the screen. Like, I know the bezels are thinner up here on the side and the top, and I'm happy for the thinner bezels, but that notch, but honestly, I don't even know why I'm tripping like that, because my eyes are probably trained to disregard the notch because I don't really see it on my iPhone, you know, so to have that then transfer over to my Mac, maybe as I'm working and everything like that, it's just gonna kind of blend in with the bezel. So I don't know, I just kind of have mixed feelings on that and just looking at it, but I'm open to it. It's not gonna turn me off from buying it, I'll say that much. And for those of you that like Touch ID, we still do have it on these models, but we don't have Face ID quite yet. The storage, oh my God. We can now go up to 8 terabytes on a MacBook Pro. As tempting as that is, it's like, I know me. If I have an 8 terabyte MacBook, I'm definitely gonna load it down with info, and I don't need to do that. You know, you don't wanna store everything in this one location. So to help me better manage me, I would probably stick with a 2 terabyte or 4 terabyte option. I currently have a 2 terabyte 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro. So I might teeter to that 4 terabyte region, because if you can't tell, yes, I am going to get one of these new M1 MacBooks. Now, if you're curious which one I'm gonna go with, I'm leaning on the 14-inch MacBook Pro with the M1X chip, maxing out everything minus the storage, which we're gonna stay at probably 4 terabytes. I think that's where I'm gonna go. Color-wise, we're gonna do space gray, because this year, once again, we only have 2 color options, space gray or silver. But these new MacBook Pros, they start off at $19.99 for the 14-inch model and $24.99 for the 16-inch model. I'm feeling these, y'all. I'm happy. I'm very happy with the keynote today and what Apple introduced. But to me, like, the MacBook Pro was a great computer anyway for professionals, but these 2 new MacBook Pros are gonna be even better, because I think they answer a cry and a call that a lot of creatives, or a lot of content creators at least, myself included, had for these computers. But yeah, definitely, if you have not subscribed yet to the channel, now might just be a good time to do so, because I do plan on getting definitely that 14-inch model in and unboxing it on the channel. And drop your questions down below that you might have about it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this one, y'all. If I think of anything else, I'll be down in the comment section when this video goes live so we can chat a little bit. And you can always feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, because I try to update you there as well with my thoughts and what's going on. But till the next one, y'all, as always, thanks for taking the time out to let me tech you out. Wait. Those HomePods, I got my eyes on the yellow and the blue.